No, she's like she wants to go tonight.
Yeah, I like to sit in the window. I like to think it's like I have a chair. Thank you so much. I'm sitting out here. I would do anything for you. Are you doing your English?
Hello, senators. If you could please fill out the attendance poll that is in the Students' Assembly channel, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
She's not good. We actually might get out.
Let's do it. I've got stuff to study for, man.
I work at
GABA actually. Alcohol is an agonist of GABA.
I don't know what that means. I have to do science.
What is it? Agonist.
I don't believe in science.
So I actually know more about my topic than my supervisor. Much. She's like, you know what? I'll let you do whatever you want. I'm like, thanks. I want to keep the feminist.
Oh, yeah.
And then also like his supervisor. So it was I don't know. Every question like I don't know anything.
Chris, are we starting?
Robert's supposed to be yours. It was
Bring all in.
You know what?
no, that's right.
So that's basically.
Let's get this on the road.
The cycle two meeting of the Students' Assembly is called to order. The first item on our agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes for the September 11th meeting of the Students' Assembly. Are there any additions or corrections to be made to these minutes?
I have a motion
Yes.
to postpone to the bills.
Okay.
11, 12, and 13 for next cycle. The author isn't here to present them.
Okay. In that case, we'll hear that first and then move on to the approval of the minutes. There has been a motion to postpone bills 2025-11, 2025-12, and 2025-13 to the cycle 3 meeting of the Students' Assembly. Is there any objection to this motion?
I second the motion.
Seconded, right. Is there any objection to postponing these 3 bills to the next cycle? You object. Is there a particular bill you object to?
Specifically the dissolving the CPF.
Okay, would you mind if we considered the other 2 separately? Okay, so we're going to consider postponing 2025-11, an amendment funding guidelines to address organizational funding limits, and a bill to address inequality and restrictions on travel funding. Is there any objection to postponing these 2 bills to the cycle 3 meeting of the Students' Assembly? Hearing none, they are postponed. And then for 2025-12, you are objecting to postponing that? Okay. There has been a motion to postpone Bill 2025-12, an amendment to dissolve the DEI fund and merge it into Wednesday night funding. This motion has been seconded and there is opposition to it. So we will have a poll posted to the Students Assembly channel. If this motion receives a majority vote, Bill 2025-12 will be postponed to the next meeting of the Students Assembly. This Cycle 3 meeting will be held on October 9th. If the motion does not receive a majority vote, we will proceed to hear it tonight. 11 and 13 were postponed. We're voting specifically on 12 because there's only opposition to 12. Yeah. We're voting specifically on 12. We're okay. There was unanimous consent for 11 and 13 to be postponed. Alicia was specifically objecting to motion.
I mean, it's no one.
It's postponed. Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like to go ahead and say that? Okay, so we can discuss the motion to postpone. So Manisha is speaking in favor of keeping it and then we will vote. Does that sound good? Okay. Everyone, we're going to wait for a second to post the poll on this motion to postpone. There has been indication that we would like to discuss this before voting on it. Would the mover care to explain?
Yeah. I think we-
Catch box. I'll pass it back, please. If you have not been to a student senate meeting before, please make sure you have a microphone before you speak. Otherwise, we can't hear you on the live stream and people who aren't at this meeting will not be able to hear what you said. Thank you.
I don't think we should postpone it because like a lot of the people who are here are to show support for not passing it. So there's that first of all, and second of all, whether whoever reads it, the amendments are the same. Like the changes that we're proposing are the same. So I don't think it really matters who is reading it out loud.
I believe the student body president is wanting to respond.
Yeah. So, one, I think it's kind of weird that we would postpone two other bills because the author's not here, but then we would address this other one, even though the author's not here. So I think it's weird that we have two different standards for two different bills. And secondly, it's more than just the writing. When you have the actual author, they're able to explain the motivation behind it, some circumstances beyond than what is just the writing. And so it does matter because there's just a lot of other factors that come into play when someone gets to present their bill versus just like reading it straightforward. Also, who's going to answer questions? Like if you have questions specifically for the author, who's going to answer those? And I don't think we would set this standard for like any other group. Like, I don't know, let's say the BSU had a funding bill that they submitted and someone wasn't there to present it and we just decided to vote on it and like deny their funding. I don't think that would be very fair to them. So I don't think, so like I said previously, I think it's weird that we would have two separate standards for two separate bills and that we would postpone two of them because the author's not here, but then we would talk about the other one even though the author's not here. And again, like there's just so many other different facets and explanations that you'll get when you have the actual author there to present rather than just reading it straightforward. Is that a question or did?
Okay, hold on one second. Anything else?
Mm-mm.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. This motion is debatable, so we will go around the meeting and see if anyone else has input. Again, this is not on the constitutional amendment itself. We are just considering whether to hear it at this meeting or the next Students Assembly meeting. I believe we had, yes?
Douglas?
Are you still wanting to speak?
Yes.
Could we get name and constituency, please? And Ivana, could you pass back the catch box?
Yes, I will. Can
Okay.
you verify the status first?
Yeah,
Oh, you're
what's
the
up?
Black Student Union Senator. My bad.
Hey. You said name and constituency.
Name and constituency, please.
Douglas Jamal. I'm a senator for the Black Student Union here.
Thank you, go ahead.
I want to say I also agree we should not postpone that bill. Now, to respond to Danae, we really don't have to postpone the other two either if you don't want to. But we recently talked to Noah like this week, and he said he would be here, and he's not, which is unfortunate. But all the support here is here specifically to challenge this bill. So with him here or not, he's just, we need to talk about it today. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the motion to postpone? I'm seeing him. There is a catch box on this. Okay, never mind.
I would just like to clarify quickly.
Name, please. Before you start.
What? Oh,
I know,
Hamp,
but
Hamp
for the
Henning.
live stream.
Hamp Henning. Yes.
Thank you. Sorry.
All right. I'd just like to respond quickly to what you said. Noah is not here due to becoming sick. He became sick, and that is why he's not in attendance. I just wanted to clarify that so you guys, no one thought he just didn't show up because he wasn't paying attention or something.
Further discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. Where was there a hand? Oh, yes. Ava, go ahead. Name and constituency, please.
Okay, my name's Ava Gare Harris. I'm a student senator of the Lowborough Arts and Science College. You get it. But I mean, I can understand why you want to talk about the bill right now since you all came out, and I think it's really important that we discuss this bill. But we need to have the discussion with him here because I have no idea his thoughts, and I want to vote correctly for you guys specifically. And I'm so glad to see you all out here because I think it's really important that you guys speak about this fund. However, you also need to hear his part on it. I mean, I know where I stand on the bill personally, but you still need to hear his part of the story to kind of understand why he created the bill and kind of what his thoughts on it were, just so you guys can also actually talk to the person who physically made it and is trying to, in a way, I'm not going to say that, just to try and change the funding and everything. You want to speak to him specifically, and it'll get kind of your thoughts out and get his ideas of why he did it out. So I think it's more important for you guys to come back again and then try and hear his side, but still fight for what you believe in that aspect. So, yeah.
Thank you. I believe we had further discussion from Kenna.
Kenna, School of Journalism and Chair of Community Affairs. While I do agree that the importance of having the author of a bill here to discuss it, we don't hold that same standard for every bill. We hear plenty of bills that authors aren't here to talk about, and we vote on them even though they're not here. So I think basing the argument that the author's not here, so therefore we shouldn't hear it, we don't apply that to every bill. So we shouldn't pick and choose.
Thank you. And up.
My name is Sophie Turian. I'm a graduate student senator. I just have a question. Is he allowed to call in so that people don't have to come back again, but he can still defend the bill?
Yes, but it's not ideal, obviously.
Right.
I mean, he's sick, so I assume he's not going to be able to coherently participate.
I mean, obviously not ideal, but also I don't think it's ideal to ask everyone to come back again.
Okay, was that your entire?
Yeah.
Okay, I believe we had Farzad.
This is for the exec staff or the president, really. Do you guys support the treasurer's bill? Do you guys support the treasurer's bills?
So I have not sponsored any bills this year, and I don't plan to, because I think that the Students' Assembly should be able to make their own decisions on things. So I don't plan on writing any bills. I haven't written any bills, and I don't plan on sponsoring any. So I'm just gonna put that out there. As to what you said, I think asking someone who's sick to call in and defend their bill is kind of ridiculous. When someone's sick, they're out, and so it's not fair to make them call in to try to work. Because also we don't know his condition. I don't know. He could be in the hospital right now. And then the other thing that I was gonna say is what Senator Douglas had mentioned was that the support against it is here. But again, I don't think we should dictate whether or not we talk about a bill just because one side of the issue is here and it's convenient for them. Because I believe if they care about it enough and they really do want to have an actual dialogue about it, an actual conversation about it to the fullest extent that it can be, then they would care about having the author here, so for the author to explain themselves, and they would care enough to show up to present whatever the ideas that they feel and the beliefs that they have.
Thank you. The student body president has now spoken twice. Can we just get a show of hands, since the discussion has gone on for a little bit, show of hands, who all wants to speak on the motion? Seeing 1, 2, 3. Is it 3, 4? 4, 4, 4, 4. Going once, going twice. Sure. Farzad?
Do you need 4?
No, I'm just seeing who all wants to speak. Okay. Is there any objection to hearing these 5 speakers on the motion to postpone and then proceeding to a vote. Hearing none, we'll proceed that way. Student Body Vice President, I believe you had your hand up first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ivana. I'm the Student Body Vice President. Noah is, in fact, sick. I know he absolutely would have wanted to be here and present because he really does care about the students. At the end of the day, like, things happen in life, such as sickness. Not that it's any of my place to say, but I do know there are some personal issues that are going on in his life that are extenuating circumstances that are beyond his control as well as our control. It honestly would just be a few weeks if this bill was postponed. But at the end of the day, this is a constitutional amendment. This isn't something that's just like any other bill. There's a lot of weight and a lot of information that the treasurer of the student body would have and he'd be able to provide. So for all of the parties in the room that have voting rights, there's a lot of information that Noah has being the treasurer, especially have his background of like finance and all of that. And it'd be really unfair to have someone else who might not know all of the answers answer questions about a bill so important that it's essentially leaving a legacy and the future for our student body. So I think it's really important that all the stakeholders are here. And again, I want to especially thank all the student organizations that have come out to show their support or not support of the bill. At the end of the day, it shows that you all care, but at the same time, Noah, our treasurer, really does care. And I think if we want to have an actual conversation about these changes that will be made and will leave an impact longer than all of our time at KU, it's really important that we have the author of the bill to provide us with information and insight.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. I believe we had Simra in the back. You wanted to speak. Could we get Farzad?
Yeah.
Monisha, you can have that.
Long throw, long throw. That almost ended in disaster. Go ahead. Name and constituency.
Yes, Simra Javed, Vice Chair of Student Rights, but also off-campus senator. Personally, I believe that we should move forward for two reasons. One, this has already made through council, so it's very likely that a majority of the senators here have already heard this once, have heard him, present the bill. Two, I think it is inherently our responsibility to be responsible in reading legislation. At the end of the day, this is the legislation that gets passed, right? He could put his input on it. I helped him write some of it, right? But I'm okay with passing it because at the end of the day, we're enacting what is written. And he can answer all your questions and, we can answer each other's questions. There's some people that do know what's going on, maybe more than the current treasurer can in terms of like projected deficit numbers and such and such. Personally, I feel like this is a time-sensitive issue. We need to go forward with it. It's all of our responsibilities to read the legislation. Majority of the senators that are eligible to vote have already heard about this matter. I don't think there's any need to delay it any further for the sake of let's get this done. Noah, Treasurer, I really hope he's feeling better. But this is our responsibility at the end of the day. Just because one person isn't here present, he's just an author of the bill, not at all the only person that can present this bill, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Student Rights and Affairs Vice Chair. Who else? We had Manisha here. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to point out that when we talk about authors of the bill and not being fair that they're not here to present, Simra, the Vice Chair of Student Rights and Affairs, is an author on the bill. And then also any questions that the treasurer can answer, fundamentally our faculty advisor, Matea, can answer them better. So not to throw shade on Noah, love him, but she does know like our financial situation. So I think we, like Simra said, we can answer each other's questions. We have faculty advisors to answer questions. So I think we should process with the bill.
Thank you, Community Affairs Vice Chair. And then I believe we had one more person. Are you still wanting to speak or no? Can we please get a catch box up here? Name constituency, please.
Do I have to have a Public Relations Director?
Public Relations, that's it.
Shay Marnie, Public Relations Director. The only concern that I really have with not postponing the bill is the validity of the discussion we have in here. Because I believe, like we said, it is a constitution altering amendment. It's very, very important to both the past and the future of the Student Senate, as well as what is happening right now. I don't like the idea that we might have a debate that people could question the result of. I think that'll not only devalue what happens in this room right now, but also devalue whether the amendment gets passed or not as a whole. So whatever decision we make in this room, I don't believe will be seen as strong or as thought through if we don't have the author of the bill here. And I understand that we do have other authors in this room, but I've seen Noah talk. He's talked to the organizations that this bill may affect. He knows the specifics. He is the treasurer of Student Senate. He knows what he's talking about, and he is the author of this bill. We have co-authors, and we have Simra, who I'm guessing could answer some questions, but Noah knows this bill as a whole. And if we want to make a decision that is well informed, that is valued by the student body, and that is strong in every aspect, we need both sides here fighting equally.
Thank you, Public Relations Director. Okay, we have heard from the 4 remaining speakers, so we will now proceed to vote on the motion. We will get the poll posted here shortly. Again, just as a parliamentary explanation, it's good. The poll is now posted in the Students Assembly channel. Again, please only cast a vote if you are a student senator. Sorry, as a parliamentary explanation, this motion will take a majority vote to pass. If there is majority in favor of the motion, then the bill will be postponed to the Cycle 3 meeting of the Students Assembly to be held on October 9th. If the bill or if the motion does not receive a majority vote, we will proceed to hear it tonight. Thank you. Please cast your votes. This will be 2 minutes. 2-minute poll. Thank you. What's up? Everyone, please cast your votes. 15 seconds. Order! Thank you, everyone. The current vote on this motion is 21 in favor of postponing, 24 opposed. Because this is so close, we are going to take the time to count all of the votes and make sure they were all cast validly by student senators. This is going to take a bit. The meeting will be held at ease. while the Internal Affairs Director and I count the votes. Thank you. Sorry for the delay.
I was trying to rack it up the tension by switching my vote back. It's just a little bit bad time. At the end of the day, like, even if it gets because we're gonna have to wait another it does. Angel Rivera.
Everyone, could we please have Angel Rivera approach the table?
I have a meeting that I Oh, you're the No, it's actually.
I do too. I do too.
I keep track of how we vote yes on 90%. That's a lot better than we agree on like 95%. We don't have lobbies. We don't have
This is the closest.
We have a massive How often do you meet with your non-tribal constituents? Twice a week. Well, yeah. I'm gonna start with like, did you are you guys gonna respond to the show or dress up? So I have a Viking club site and we better prepare idea. Watch full practice and very come back. But you had well, I'm gonna sign this.
Could I get Anai Melinda? Yeah. Could I please? Oh my God. Hello. I'm so sorry. Could I please get Anai Melendez to the bench?
Yeah, bro. That is my, that's I'm getting ice cream. You want some?
Order! Everyone, please resume your seats. I'm sorry for the delay, but we finished going through all of the votes. We had two community student senators who just submitted their appointments, and then two invalid votes that canceled each other out, and two voice votes also. So thankfully, the two invalid votes were one to approve and one to oppose. The two voice votes are one to approve, one to oppose. So the team's poll does have the valid count. The result of the vote is 21 in favor, 23 opposed. The motion to postpone is lost. We will continue to hear, what was it? Bill 2025-12, an amendment to dissolve the DEI fund and merge it into Wednesday night funding. We will continue to hear that tonight. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Now that we have that motion disposed of, we will continue with the flow of the agenda. Approval of the minutes. Again, are there any additions or corrections to be made to the minutes for the September 11th meeting of the Students' Assembly? Yeah. Fantastic. There is a motion to approve the minutes from the student body vice president. There is a second. Name, please. Audrey. Fantastic. Is there any objection to approving the minutes for the September 11th meeting of the Students' Assembly? Hearing none, they are approved. Fantastic. The next item on the agenda is officer reports. Student body president, you're up. How much time would you like?
Let's just do 10 minutes so that we don't have to.
Fantastic. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to start with is we filled 3 of our vacant executive staff positions. So I'm going to ask that those 3 people please come up to the stand and introduce themselves. Ham Penning, Molly McGeary, and Shay Marney.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ham Penning, and I will be serving as this year's Fund Development Director for Student Senate. So underneath that, I'm the Vice Chair of the Community Development Fund that we're going to be voting on shortly here, and the Educational Opportunity Fund, which provides scholarships, grants, that types of things to promote educational access. Besides that, my office hours are posted on the website. You can come meet me by appointment anytime. More than happy to speak with any of you about any questions, concerns you guys may have about funding in general, funding specific to the Community Development Fund, the Educational Fund, anything like that. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. My name is Molly McGarry. I'm going to be serving this year as the Government Relations Director. So my duties for you guys are just going to be kind of a liaison between this student body, the Senate here, as well as other government agencies such as KBOR and the Kansas Legislature. A big part of my job as well is going to be working on Danae and Ivana as one of their platforms, which is placing a student seat on the Kansas Board of Regents. So I'll be working on that this year as well. Thank you.
Okay, hi, my name is Shay Marney. I am this year's Public Relations Director and a member of the Finance Council. I'm the one behind the TikTok, the Instagram, the Facebook, so catch me there. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick update on a couple of the platform items that some of our executive staff members have been working on. So Blue Books, thank you, Anna, our coordinator of staff. She got those for us. That was one of the platforms we ran on. So if you guys need a Blue Book for one of your exams, they're available in the Student Senate office. Feel free to stop by and grab a Blue Book for free. We also have pens in there. Another thing is we're thinking about doing another round of t-shirts and crew necks. However, we need to sell out the ones that we did last semester. So we have less than 20 left. So we have, for t-shirts, we have 2 mediums, 9 larges, and 6 extra larges, and then 1 crew neck left in our inventory. So head down to the bookstore downstairs and grab yourself some Student Senate merch. The Community Affairs Director, Ola, has been working on several different projects. One thing that he's really working on is, or one of the items that we ran on was a mentorship program for international students. So Ola is working with the International Affairs Department to wrap sort of that mentorship program up so we can get that started soon with student senators involved, being able to mentor different international students, welcoming them to Kansas, welcoming them to campus, that sort of thing. Also, we need to do advisory board appointments. So for those of you a little new to Senate, we have our Student Senate advisory boards, and basically each of the different fee entities that we have when we allocate our student fee dollars in the second semester, each of them has an advisory board made up of student senators, members of those groups, as well as advisors for those groups, directors of those groups, etc. And so we need to do appointments for that. So I have a QR code that'll put up probably at the end of Senate. So I'm not going to take time putting it up now. So I'll put it up during our announcement period. And so just scan that, and you can serve on one if you would like. You can serve on multiple if you would like. And so they are advisory boards to these fee entities. They meet once a month. That group decides themselves when they're going to meet for that month, and they talk about how the fee dollars should be allocated. So, for example, some of those groups are the rec center, transportation, union and dining services, just to name a few. Family weekend, this is just a shout out for this weekend. Family weekend is this weekend, so I hope to see you all at the game. This Friday, there's a pep rally that KU Athletics is hosting. That starts at 5:30 Friday on Mass Street. The headline performer is Shabuzi at 8:30, and again, this is free, so you get a free little Shabuzi concert. And then the football game is Saturday, the 28th at Arrowhead Stadium. Athletics is providing free buses to students, so make sure you reserve your ticket and to the game and your bus ticket, and go have fun. Rock Chalk.
Questions? Are there any questions for the student body president? I can't read it. No, so we have new designs. Coming in that Shay PR has been working on. They look really awesome. So very exciting stuff. But again, first we have to sell out the old one before we can get started on the next.
Are we also open?
Remember the catch box, please. Thank you.
We also potentially open sourcing designs for Student Senate merch.
Would you like to design something?
I don't know if I would per se, but somebody in the room, you know.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
If people are interested in designing stuff, that'd be awesome.
Somebody might have designed one last year that, you know, didn't get accepted. Just putting
True.
that out there, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Further questions for the student body president? Ivana, go ahead.
going to the Rock the Block party?
I am. I will be there rocking out to some Shabuzi, double shot of whiskey or whatever.
Further questions for the student body president? Okay, no further questions. Thank you very much.
You're about to have a revolution.
Next for officer reports is the student body vice president. How much time would you like?
Okay.
Very precise. Go ahead.
You show me your design and I'll show you mine.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to provide some updates on the platforms that Danae and I have been working on, along with other members of our executive staff. So like I mentioned at the last General Assembly meeting, we were actively working on some initiatives to bring around more hammocks and stuff around campus. There is one hammock actually on Daisy Hill. It is kind of across from the Self and Oswald dorms. And so kind of what we're thinking about is making these like fixtures. So it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it without saying like a T-pose, honestly. So it's kind of like a fixture with like telephone poles, and it's like a cross shaped, and essentially hammocks can be tied between them. And so students will have the opportunity to bring their own hammocks, use a carabiner, kind of clip it on. And this kind of allows for like more personalization and just kind of taking use of our outdoor spaces. As you guys know, we have a lot of like really nice green space on the KU campus. So this will be kind of a cool way for students to get to personalize how they want to lounge around. And especially we want to take advantage of the beautiful weather before it becomes winter. And so in order to do this, I've met with the facility services, and I'll be reaching out to a corporate sponsor that we've worked with, Evergy, to have them donate telephone poles. So we're actually promoting sustainability by reusing some equipment that was used in the past. And then Student Senate should be able to donate some hammocks for this initiative. So there'll be some hammocks around. I'm working really hard to get this going and off the ground, so hopefully we'll hear back about this pretty soon. Additionally, something that I'm working on is improved lighting around campus. There are a lot of areas that students have identified that need more lighting, especially in the outdoor spaces. Jayhawk Boulevard is actually pretty well lit, but there are some areas around like the courtyard, around Spooner Hall, a little bit around Malott. And I know as a fact, as a woman, sometimes I don't feel safe walking around on campus alone at night. And so having more lighting will contribute to making our campus more safe and also more accessible to students. And so this this is something that I'm working on. I've reached out to people that have worked on the master plan. And KU Grounds is also on board of this initiative, as well as facility services. So we can hopefully get this up in the works relatively soon. Additionally, the Spooner Hall courtyard, which I don't know if any of you know where Spooner Hall is. It's honestly right across from the Union. They have a courtyard area that could use some tender loving care. And so that's something that I'm working on. I'm going to host it as a site for the big event to get volunteers to clean up the area, kind of just make it look a little bit more sustainable. And then I have hopes to plant a community garden there and stuff, and then make it a little bit more beautified and have some lights and stuff to kind of make it more of a community space. And then lastly, Dr. Durham wanted us to talk about this. So there is a leadership for free expression, kind of like a conference / like symposium almost. And so I've included the link. Thank you to Chris for putting that in the minutes or the agenda. And so this experience is for undergraduate and graduate students. So if anyone is interested, once the minutes are sent out, please feel free to click on that and to kind of fill out the form. It's a really great opportunity for you to further yourself as a leader, and if this is something that interests you. Thank you.
It's on the agenda. They can fill it out now if they want to.
Yeah, they can do that too.
The agenda is linked in the Students Assembly channel. If you would like to fill out this form, go ahead. It's public for everyone.
I thought you were calling me off of my time. I was like, oh, Chris, I thought I had some more time.
You're all good. We
Yeah.
have 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. Any questions for the student body vice president?
Well, I yield my 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So
Douglas?
Just to let you know that link is not working.
Oh,
link is
shit.
not working.
It's not? I tried it earlier.
the link I sent worked.
It's working for me.
You want to try refreshing it, Douglas?
The old link I originally had it there doesn't work.
Really?
Yeah, make sure you're looking at the current copy of the agenda. We did replace the link earlier.
I would also be more than happy to Teams it to you if anyone is not able to find it or it's not working. Any other questions?
Any further questions for
Sorry.
the student body vice president? Well, hearing
Okay,
none, thank
thank
you very
you.
much. Next officer report is Brendan Phelan, the graduate student body president. How much time would you like?
2 minutes, please.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. I feel like each week this room gets more and more filled with students, which is really exciting. It's exciting to see that people care about what is happening on campus. So anyways, some of the things I'm working on right now is filling all my graduate student advisory board positions, filling all of the grad representative positions on different committees, as well as an overview of the Constitution for GSAB, as well as our Constitution for Student Senate, because there is some confusion in not clarity as to what graduate students' roles and capabilities are in Student Senate. So do be looking out for an update on that within the next coming weeks, as there will be a constitutional review.
Any questions for the graduate student body president? Hearing none, thank you. The next officer report is for the treasurer absent. Okay, we'll move on to the next one then. Wishing him a swift recovery. Next one's me. I'll give this in 3 minutes. Don't think it'll take that long. Oh, Megan, it's 3 minutes, but. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see so many faces from the community at this meeting. I hope you all are having a reasonably good time so far. So yesterday at the meeting of the Student Executive Council, we decided to start the process of holding disciplinary hearings for senators who are allegedly in violation of the absence policies. This is not intended to be an adversarial process. It's just intended so that we can make sure that each senator seat is being used for its fullest potential for advocacy on behalf of the student body. In addition to this, I've been in contact with the leaders of Sunrise KU, an environmental organization here, to discuss a potential resolution that will be hopefully submitted in the coming cycles. Besides that, just the continuing work to make sure the legislative branch runs well, I met with the Honorable Fund Development Director earlier this week to make sure that everything there is looking good. I also received some fantastic pistachio ice cream from the Honorable, the Vice Chair of the Finance Council, Farzad. Any questions?
I have a question for the vice chair. Would you like to plug where you got that delicious ice cream?
Please.
No, some things should be kept secret.
Come on. man.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. No, if we get out of here before 8 o'clock, the Middle Eastern Student Association, they packed up the ice cream, but I was like, hey, come on, it's me. And they brought out the pistachio ice cream. So if you get there before 8 o'clock, you might be able to snag some pistachio and what's the flower spice thing? Saffron. They've got saffron ice cream. They've got pistachio. Yeah, get up there.
Thank you.
It's in the lot room on the 6th floor.
Lot room, 6th floor, Kansas Union. It's 2 floors up. Any further questions for me? All right, fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Megan. We will hear next from the Internal Affairs Director. 2 minutes.
Yeah. All right. Hello, everybody. I actually haven't closed the attendance poll because some of you haven't been good and filled it out. So if you could do that, that'd be fantastic. Also, please, I'm begging you to fill out that attendance poll also in council meetings, because otherwise I'm going to mark you as absent, and then that's going to cause problems for you, and that's not good. And please email me if for some reason, like, let's say, wait, actually, no. If there's no objections.
I say that.
That's all right. Yeah, Jack.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
Wait, Sam. Do you accept the acclamation to be a student senator? Sweet, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Internal Affairs Director. There has been a motion to acclimate these 5 students to fill these vacancies in the roster of the legislative branch. Second, is there any objection to these replacement senators? All right, fantastic.
You 4, you now have access to Teams and can vote. And if you don't, come up and talk to me right now.
Yes.
Thank you.
We now have 5 new friends for the rest of the academic year. Okay, now that we have handled the appointment of replacement senators, we will proceed to the consent legislation. Is anyone wanting to hear an explanation of the consent legislation, or should we proceed straight to voting?
Would you be able to provide an explanation of the consent legislation for the people that haven't been here before?
Like how it works, or specifically the legislation? Oh, okay. So it's the custom of Student Senate that when student organizations apply for a certainly low amount of funding, we include them on the consent agenda so that all of these bills can be approved together with fairly limited discussion to make sure that we have time to reach the rest of the agenda. Does anyone have questions about this process? Go ahead. Yeah, get a catch box. Someone please pass a catch box to Douglas.
Who's speaking?
Here. Not both of them, just one.
Hey guys. Douglas Jamal, Center for BSU.
Everyone quiet, please. Go ahead.
Can you read what Pee Wee Pecker, that whole
Sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. There's been a request to look at one of the bills, specifically Pee Wee Pecker or both of them.
Pee Wee Pecker. Thank you.
You doing this for a joke or?
No, it says Pee Wee.
Dot Smith, the president of the Pee Wee Pecker, submitted this funding application. The event description: the Pee Wee Pecker publishes a collection of satire journalism, both through print and a website. We aim to make journalism both more accessible and entertaining to the student body of KU through making light of various topics and events occurring on campus. Our programs not only include publishing works, but workshops that develop skills in grammar, proper journalistic style, comedy, and other skills that can be applied in the real world. Ultimately, we exist to connect KU through comedy and journalism. They usually meet in Wesco Hall. They meet every Monday from 7 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. They have approximately 25 people on their staff and about 10 people at each meeting. No other fundraising efforts. They're requesting $643 And this is mostly for, it looks like, printing supplies. The full agenda is at the end of the bill if anyone would like to pull it up. It doesn't look like they have a website, or at least I'm not doing that just because it's going to take a while. Question?
Another question. It's misspelled on there. It's Pewee as in like P-E-W-E-E. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's two E's?
It's two E's.
Oh, okay, my bad.
And there is a website.
Okay, if I'm not finding it in the search results, we're not taking time to look at it. I'm sorry.
Weird search history.
Okay, I've read this bill. Does anyone want me to read the Forensics Club bill, or are we okay to proceed to voting on the consent agenda? Yep, okay. No, it's just those two. And then, of course, for regular legislation, we have 2025-12. Motion to vote on the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, I think various seconds. We'll go with Benicius. Is there any objection to passing bills 2025-7 and 2025-8? Hearing none, they are passed. Thank you. Okay, we're on to the last major portion of the agenda, regular legislation. So there has been a motion that was carried to postpone 2025-11 and 2025-13 to the next meeting of the Students' Assembly. This leaves on the regular legislation Bill 2025-12, an amendment to dissolve the DEI fund and merge it into Wednesday night funding. We will need to have either someone to present it or I can just read it. Is there anyone to present it?
Isn't there a co-author?
Simra, would you care to present the bill?
Sure.
Yeah.
Before we present, on the agenda, there was a university advisor that got a report. I think we forgot that.
I'm sorry. I believe we have Dr. Joseph and Matea Gills in the back. Would either of you care to give an officer report? I'm sorry for skipping you.
I will speak about the finances.
Can we please get a catch box back to Matea? Matea is coming for the front. Put the catch box down, please. I'm so sorry. How much time would you like?
I've got it. Thank you. You got ice cream? I'll trade you.
Everyone, quiet, please. Matea, go ahead.
Okay, so hi, my name is Matea. I am an advisor for Student Senate. I am just going. So on students' website, we can all go find the Student Senate budget book. And I'm going to kind of go through this one small area of it very briefly. Also, just to make this very clear, advisors do not sponsor bills. So I'm not speaking in support, for, against, anything to do with this bill. I just want to point out kind of where Senate's finances are at. I did this pretty much exact speech in the Finance Committee last week. So if you were there, sorry, you're going to hear it again. But the Student Senate activities fee, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The Senate activities fee is where we're really looking at when it comes to Senate's budget this year. And you can see here that from all the students that pay this 522.05, Senate will get 1874. And if you scroll down a little bit more through the book, it breaks it down for projected revenues, and then it breaks it down into allocations that fee goes towards. So if you look at this 1875 for block allocations, 1875 already more than the 1874 that's going to be coming, 1895, sorry, is already more than the 1875 that's going to be coming in. So just looking at those numbers, Senate's activities fee this year does not have enough to operate for the block that they allocated last year, meaning they don't have enough for line item that was allocated, and they don't have enough for Wednesday night that was allocated. Numbers just at the core of it will be bringing in this number, and they've projected to spend this number. that is where the finances are at right now. We don't have exact numbers, as last week was the final number for enrollment. So they just brought in final enrollment numbers. So then we'll finally get the number of students that paid that 522 fee, so that we'll get into this hopefully next week and see the actual numbers that Senate is working with. But that's kind of where they're at, and where some of these funding bills are stemming from, is to help the situation that Senate is in. Is there questions on that?
Any questions for the advisor? If anyone wants to read the budget book, it is available publicly on the Student Senate website. It should be on the front page. Any questions? Hearing, oh, wait, question from Farzad.
We'll let him go first.
Okay.
Hang on.
We had a question in the back. I can't see who. Can we get name and constituency, please?
Oh, wait.
Okay, then just name, please.
Yeah, Tegan Blaine. I just wanted to ask, because you're going over fee review and while you're here, what fee does community development funding come from?
So that one does have its own money line.
So it's not coming from Student Senate's money line.
The community development fund fee.
Yeah, like what funds that fund specifically?
Yeah, I'll show you on the budget book right where it's at. So it is still the old name, but that's its line right there.
Okay.
Any further questions for the advisor? Farzad, did you still have one? Did you? Farzad. Okay. Farzad, go ahead. Didn't think we had any other.
It was either that or the ice cream, man. I wasn't about it.
Order, please. Without objection, speaker's time is extended by 1 minute.
So for clarification, we don't have any carry forward whatsoever for the fiscal year.
Yes, sorry. So I'll clarify that too. I've learned in the last couple of weeks in this new role that the past few years, Senate has been under an understanding of carry forward and reserves, and kind of operating on interchanging those two words, but those are two very separate things when it comes down to what the budget really is. So Senate and all departments across campus are required to have a 90-day reserve, which is 25% of their operating budget. Senate's 90-day reserve right now is actually below what it should be due to its past spending. So any revenue that we do bring in over the next few weeks will immediately go to replenishing that number. I believe it should be around 230, and it's around about 219 now. So immediately the number that we already don't have enough to cover the budget for this year will have to go to replenish that reserves. And there is no carry forward because we were already spending out of the reserve that had to be there. That stems from years of overspending through Senate and just misunderstanding of the budget as a whole. It was not just due to 1 year of it. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, and then a follow-up question.
We'll need a motion to extend the speaker's time. How much?
To extend by 5.
5 minutes, second. Any objection to 5-minute extension? Hearing none, go ahead. Your follow-up. Wait, was there a question over here? No, go ahead.
Okay, so given that block is at what, like 800,000 already for the projection, and we're supposed to be spending 800,000, does that mean we're technically not supposed to spend any of line or any of Wednesday night funding?
That is not my decision to make on what you choose to spend. I'm just going to say the money may not even be there to spend.
Point of information, Matea is an advisor. Her coming up here to speak is out of her own goodwill, so we do not need to pressure her or ask her any uncomfortable questions. Let's please try to keep this respectful.
Yeah, is that a good question?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
We can't, I don't believe without passing more legislation and more bills that we can just say you don't get your line anymore. But that is a bigger picture that Senate is going to have to look at of if there's no money there.
So based on, are there any other questions?
Other questions before Farzad? No, go ahead.
Yeah. So constitutionally speaking, is it possible for Senate to go back and reallocate block and line, or is whatever happened last year enshrined for fiscal year 25?
I believe that it can be done through like a 2/3 vote, but I'm not 100% positive on what that looks like in the Constitution.
Point of information, yes.
Okay.
But it would have to go back to the peer review committee, and then it would be a 2/3 vote of the assembly.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of tough because half of the peer review committee graduated.
Okay, any further questions for the advisor? Hearing none, thank you very much. Matea has been fantastic, by the way. We would not have been able to get through last year without her help. Where were we? Oh, Bill 2025-12, dissolving the DEI fund, merging into Wednesday night funding. I believe we were about to start the presentation from the bill's co-author, Simra Javed. How much? Yeah. We had a motion, we had a second, then unanimous consent. Yep. Time. It's going to be a long one. Do you want 20?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back.
Go ahead when you are ready.
Yeah, that's what.
Chris?
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I was just
I could clarify, but I also spoke to them last week. I want to get then they can be. Ready? Okay, fair enough. Let me do the thing.
Yep.
Order! Thank you. We will begin the presentation on 2025-12.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. My name is Simra. I am the current vice chair of the Student Rights and Affairs Council, and I am a co-author of this bill, but I will add a caveat of I only wrote one small portion of the bill, so I cannot answer for a lot of questions that I assume are going to be for the rest of the bill, okay? But I will be reading it as is, and I hope that you take it easy on me. Okay, so this is an amendment to dissolve the DEI fund and merge it into Wednesday night funding. I will skip over this, okay? I'm going to go into the whereas. So whereas the DEI fund and Wednesday night funding are both currently open to all student organizations, as no governing body can rightfully determine or label which organizations qualify as diverse without violating non-discrimination policy principles. And whereas the university's commitment to inclusivity and non-discrimination ensures that any student organization, regardless of their demographic makeup or mission, is eligible to apply for either funding source. And whereas existence of a separate DEI fund is unnecessary, as any group can apply for funding under Wednesday night funding without exclusion based on their focus or identity. And whereas merging the DEI fund into Wednesday night funding would streamline the funding process, reduce administrative overhead, allow for more efficient use of internal resources, and benefiting both applicants and administrators. And whereas the dissolution of the DEI fund would not restrict or limit any of the student organizations that have historically received funding from it, as these groups will continue to have full access of the unified funding pool under Wednesday night funding. And whereas the current role and responsibilities of the fund of director must be updated in the Constitution to reflect the dissolution of the DEI fund and its integration into Wednesday night funding. Be it resolved, the DEI fund, also known as Community Development Fund, is hereby dissolved, and its remaining funds are merged into the existing Wednesday night funding pool. So these are the parts that are going to be discussed. So the removal of the DEI fund references from the Constitution. Be it resolved, any and all references to the DEI fund or Community Development Fund in the Student Senate Constitution are hereby removed and shall no longer be in effect. This is going to be the update to the role of the fund dev director. Basically, any mention of the DEI fund is to be stricken, which
Order means stop talking, please. Go ahead.
thank you. And so everything that's stricken here, it's as is found in the Constitution. It's being stricken, basically being removed from the roles of the fund dev director. And so nothing's being added, just remove it as it pertains to DEI. And then these are as is, except this is getting stricken because the fund will be dissolved. Therefore, they wouldn't have to sit on that fund board. And so be it resolved, the DEI Fund Advisory Board is hereby dissolved and absorbed into the Finance Council. All current members of the Fund Advisory Board shall be reinstated as active members of the Finance Council, ensuring continuity in the oversight of funds and decision-making process. This is the chair or the position that I helped create, so I can talk about this specific part. Everything else, please bear with me. But this is the Community Finance Chair. Be it resolved, the DEI Fund Advisory Board Chair shall receive a chair position in the Finance Council known as the Community Affair Finance Chair. This position is ex officio with voting rights. This position will be elected by a General Assembly at the start of the academic year. The role of the chair is not to be conflicted with Finance Council leadership in terms of hierarchy, but to maintain representation for marginalized groups, organizations, and programs. The duties of this role shall be as stated: to provide a voice for underrepresented groups, organizations, and programs in the context of funding, to monitor fund allocations to ensure all groups, organizations, and programs within the community have equal and equitable access to funds. And then 3, to guide underrepresented groups, organizations, and programs through the process of obtaining funding. And so the removal of Article 13, DEI Fund Advisory Board, be it resolved, Article 13 of the Constitution, which outlines the structure and responsibilities of the DEI Fund Advisory Board, is hereby removed to reflect the integration of the board into Finance Council. So that is the bill.
Are there any questions? God, okay. You were first. Catchbox, please. Take it from Frizago. Name and constituency, please.
Name Corinne Yoder-Mulkey. I'm here just as a student at large. I'm a law student. Is Senate, or I guess the chair that's being developed, are you going to continue monitoring which organizations are receiving what to actually ensure oversight that the organizations who are traditionally served through the Community Development Fund are getting funding?
So if I'm hearing your question right, you're saying, is it going to ensure that groups are getting funding and that they're going to get an equitable and equal? Yes. So that is essentially what the chair would be doing, is speaking on behalf of those groups. Should those groups feel like they are not comfortable to speak in front of assembly, because that is part of the process, is that they have to come to finance, come to General Assembly, speak on these bills. And for a lot of groups, that can be difficult. And so the chair would be advocating for those student groups. They can present it on their behalf. They would ensure that funding is being allocated to these groups. Hence why the creation of the position.
I have a follow-up. Is that okay? Okay. If the bill doesn't pass, will the Community Development Fund just keep operating as is?
Technically, yes, but it can't because of and so it is a time-sensitive issue. But if the bill did fail, then it could just be refiled and brought up again.
Could you clarify the reason that it?
One follow-up question. Let's go to a different person to ask. Megan, I saw your hand first.
Could you scroll back down to the part about the new position? So you're saying that it's the chair of the DEI fund would become the community finance chair, but wasn't the chair of the DEI fund the vice chair of community affairs? So you're creating a new position, you aren't changing it, correct?
No. So the vice chair of Community Affairs Council would be a sitting member of the Finance Council in regards to this position.
How can they serve on both councils?
That's a valid concern. And that's one that I cannot speak on at this time. That is an issue.
But also, this position could be elected by the General Assembly, so it would just be for this year that the vice chair would be. But in future years, it would be anybody in General Assembly. So hopefully there wouldn't be any conflict there.
Further,
I mean, there can't be.
sorry. Further questions?
Yeah.
Name, please.
Audrey Patterson. I'm with the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. You talked about how there is virtually no difference between the line allocation, or is it Wednesday night funding and the DEI. What is the difference between like getting money from the Wednesday night funding and the DEI, and like is there any current like caveats to like being able to pull from both, or are there any like rules to say that like someone is considerable for the DEI fund? Is it actually reserved for diverse groups, or is it just anyone?
So that's part of the issue that the treasurer highlighted. He was the one that wrote that specific part that you're asking questions about. But I believe his thing was that technically any organization can qualify as diverse. And so every organization, entity, KU student group is open to getting Wednesday night funding, but technically nothing's stopping them from getting DEI fund money, because there's certain, like the council is essentially what the board is essentially what approves allocations, but like every group to some degree contributes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's just may not fit your stereotypical category in which you would imagine a group to be.
I saw Douglas. Did you have a question? Oh, sure. Can we have someone pass the box back there? Raise your hand high. Raise your hand high so people can see you. Someone, whoever has the box, pass it over. Throw. Name, please.
Tegan Blaine. I'm a student at large here on campus. You had gone into talking about the potential legal ramifications if it weren't to change. Could you talk a little bit about that?
So first, the name DEI under Kansas legislature cannot be called the DEI fund. And so technically it would be called the Community Affairs Fund if it were to continue. And so, but what I believe the treasurer intended was, because the DEI fund and Wednesday night funding essentially come from the same pool of money, there is a lot of double dipping in terms of Wednesday night funding and DEI funding money that groups can get. And so it creates a problem in terms of tracking where that money goes and sometimes over allocating it to certain groups. And so, yeah.
Mr. Speaker, can I ask a follow-up?
1 second. Point of information. The name of the fund for multicultural student organizations is currently the Community Development Fund. It was previously known as the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Fund. We changed the name at the start of this semester to comply with guidance we received from the Office of Student Affairs for complying with this Kansas legislation that imposed restrictions on DEI practices at state colleges. And then there was a follow-up, was there?
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
So you had mentioned that the funding is pulled from the same source. My understanding from the advisor that just got up here was that funding for the Community Development Fund comes from the DEI fee versus Wednesday night funding comes from the Student Senate fee. So which one is it?
I'm going to refer that question over to advisor that can better answer that.
Someone please throw a catch box back to Matea. Thank you.
I have one. On the screen, can you go to the budget book? I think it's still on like the last tab. And it's highlighted.
Simra, do you mind?
Yes.
So this is the Student Senate activity fee. That's where Wednesday night comes from. This is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Fund fee. It still has the old name because it was set in spring. That's where community development funding comes from.
So just to clarify, they do not come from the same fee.
Correct.
Thank you.
Next question. I think I saw some in the back over there. Could we, Matea, would you mind? It's difficult to keep track. of these
Hello,
things.
my name is Monty Koash Johnson. I'm a student. I want to ask for clarification because you said that there was you changed the name with the law, even though there's been no law passed in the state of Kansas specifically saying that there can't be things called DEI in college. I was asking, is there a law that was passed that you know about for sure?
So there is legislature. So to err on the side of caution, the name has been changed.
I see.
Pending legislation that is on its works, that has been approved, and so on and so forth. But yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Can we make that a minute?
Chris, I have a quick point of information.
Yeah, student body president, can we get the catch box over, please?
There should be two.
So, to go back real quick to what you said, sorry I didn't catch your name, but it actually does all come from the same fund because it all comes from our fee. So it does essentially come from the same pool of money because it all comes from that fee that we pay. And then to address what you were saying, although there was not a law directly addressing this change, we were told by higher up administration that we had to make the change, otherwise we could not proceed with functioning the way that we normally do. So if we hadn't changed the DEI fund name to the Community Development Fund, there would be no money to even be spent. Right now, they would not be meeting, nothing would be happening, it would have been completely shut down.
Thank you for the point of information. Okay, we're back to questions for the bill presenter. Show of hands, show of hands, show of hands. Let's go you. I saw your hand up earlier. Keep the boxes moving, people. Nice catch. Go ahead. Oh, wait, name, please.
Hi, I'm Cole Unger. I am a student. So to clarify, with the dissolution of the DEI Council, they'd be merged into the Finance Council, correct?
I'm sorry, could you restate that?
Sorry, the people in charge of the DEI budget, that if that is dissolved, if the bill is passed, their positions are now being put into the Finance Council, correct?
Essentially, yes.
Okay, so how are we going to guarantee that? How are we going to guarantee that they keep representation in the future, like in the coming years? Are those spots going to be permanent, or are they going to be shifted out with the next batch? Is I guess my question.
Are you saying in terms of appointments to that position?
Sort of. So I noticed that we have the due position, obviously. So my question is, are we permanently expanding the Finance Council, or are we going to just expand it for as long as these current terms are?
So it would essentially, I guess it would be an expansion of the Finance Council in terms of rehousing the members. And then as of right now, for the sake of the rest of this year, the Vice Chair of Community Affairs Council would take on this chair position, but in future years, yes, it would essentially be an additional position within Finance Council for to be elected by General Assembly for those marginalized groups to have representation in Finance Council. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes, thank you.
Further questions? I saw your hand up earlier.
Sophie Tarian, graduate student senator. So obviously it is concerning. The goal of the Community Development Fund is to promote equity. And one of the concerns with this bill is that groups that don't need that additional source of money might be taking some of the money because theoretically anyone can qualify as being diverse. But my question is, are there actual examples that this has happened? Because are there groups that should not have received the funding for the purpose of what the fund was for?
Yes, and so I cannot speak on that, and I don't want to give you misinformation or slander any group's name. In all honesty, that is a question for the treasurer because that is his main, he wrote that section of it. But for as far as I know, and what I have been told by the treasurer in our discussion of this bill, yes, it has happened, and yeah.
Further questions? Did you have one? That's over.
My
And
name
then
is
we'll
Ayon
try and get
Larewaju.
to the
I'm an international student senator. First of all, I want to thank you very much for presenting this bill. Like, no matter how hard it is, I really wish Noah was here. He presented this bill last week during the Finance Council, and just to talk about a couple of things he said. He mentioned double dipping, which is something he highlighted in the bill. He said, whereas the DEI fund and Wednesday night funding are both currently open to all student organizations, as no governing body can rightfully determine or label which organization qualify as diverse without violating non-discrimination principles. So my question to him last week when he presented this was if there is a definition of a diverse group in the Constitution, and he didn't really have an answer to this, but luckily for us, an advisor came and referred us to the Constitution, Title 11, Article 13, where it says eligibility for DEI funding. To be eligible for an allocation from the DEI fund, a student organization or an event hosted by a student organization must promote one or more of the interests listed within this section. I don't want to go ahead and read out every single thing that is listed. Yeah, it's a question, by the way. I don't want to go ahead and read out every single thing there, but my question right there is, do you guys think that definition of a DEI group or a diverse group is not adequate, or is not explanatory enough for the governing body to rightfully define or label a group as diverse? Because you mentioned double dipping, where a group can just claim to be diverse for certain reasons. But do you think the definition of a diverse group in the Constitution is not adequate for this governing body to label a group as diverse?
Yes. And so this legislation says no, that definition is not adequate because everyone's diverse. Whether it be diversity in thought, diversity in race, diversity in religion, everybody's diverse and that is essentially what this legislation is making a distinction of, is that essentially those qualities stipulated in that are not enough.
Let's have a quick hold real quick. Also, fun fact, I wrote those rules. We are currently have 10 seconds left in the speaker's time. Is there a motion to extend?
Motion to extend time for questions by 6 minutes.
6 minutes? Okay, fair enough. Second, is there any objections to extending the speaker's time by 6 minutes?
Objection. Motion to extend by 10.
For questions?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. Student body vice president, do you withdraw for 6 minutes in favor of 10?
Sure.
Okay,
I withdraw.
10 minutes. Is there a second on 10 minutes? 10-minute extension for time. I see one from the.
I am objecting.
Objecting to 10 minutes. Are you objecting to 6 minutes?
I'm objecting to that. I am going to motion to revisiting this bill at a later time and tabling it. There clearly is a lot of confusion still in this room. Simra, you've done an amazing job, but I do confidently believe that we need both authors here for the bill to better answer the questions that are in this room. And because we don't have both authors of that bill, we cannot adequately answer all the questions that we have.
What are we already voting on?
Yeah, hold on. Okay.
You're able to revisit a tabling.
Hold on a second. Okay. If I'm remembering Robert's Rules of Order right, we can't. It's okay. Now that there has been new information, now that we've had the presentation of the bill and time to ask questions, it is germane to move postponement again because we have made progress in the meeting. If the motion to postpone had been made directly after the one that failed, then I would say it was out of order. But because we are this far away in the meeting at this point, yeah, we can vote on it again. Is there a second on the motion to postpone? Second, and I'm assuming this is for cycle 3, the October 9th meeting?
You'd be correct.
Okay. Is there an objection to postponing this bill to the October 9th meeting of the Students' Assembly? I'm seeing, are all of these objections? We'll take yours. Name, please. Chris. Oh, yes, the other Chris.
The other Chris.
I have the chair. You're the other Chris. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm sorry. Diverging. We have an objection, so we will have a poll on the motion to postpone. before we get that posted, is there any new discussion? And I would ask, is there any objection to confining discussion on this motion to, say, 10 minutes? No objection? Okay, so we'll have 10 minutes, and would you like to go first? Go ahead. You have the box?
Okay, Sophie Terrian, grad student senator. So I don't disagree that tabling is potentially a good idea, but I think we should save the tabling till after people speak in support or against the bill so that these people have an opportunity to speak while they're here. We can all think about it and then potentially table it if we still feel like there's not enough like clarity, if that's possible.
Further discussion, Kenna? Also, we have a mic up there.
Oh, well, I already have this. So, Kenna, School of Journalism Senator, Chair of Community Affairs. I agree with everything that the previous speaker said. I also think that another reason to table after discussion would be that our advisors said that we would have more ideas about how much money we exactly have in the next week. So then we would know what we're working from. We're talking about money, so we should actually know how much money we're having.
Thank you. Further discussion. Douglas? Sure.
Let's say we postpone this, or we don't because we already voted on it. But if we vote on it again and it's not postponed, we won't have to worry about somebody trying to postpone it a third time, will we?
So the question is, if this is postponed to the
So
cycle
let's say it's
3
not
meeting,
postponed. Let's say we vote on it again and it's like the vote
if
disagrees.
the
then
motion to postpone is lost now, then I believe we would continue to hear and vote on the bill as normal.
Okay.
Because at this point, I don't think we could learn enough in the next however long of questions and discussion that would justify a renewed motion to postpone.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion, Manisha, please throw. Thank you.
Good throw. So I just wanted to point of information, I think.
Sure.
There was a previous question that asked the difference between the two funds. If they work exactly the same, then what's the point of having two different funds? Well, they don't. Under the Constitution, there is travel funding allowed. There's exceptions for travel funding if it's like a cultural thing under CDF. So a lot of groups do come to us for that. And then there's also exceptions for cultural foods. And that is and that exceeds like the $500 limit. And both of those are by discretion of the advisory board. So point of clarification, they are not the same fund and they do not work under the exact same constitution.
Thank you for the clarification. Further discussion on the motion to postpone.
I just have.
Oh, I'm sorry. We had one up here.
Okay.
Go ahead and use the mic in front of you.
Thank you. Okay, so too close. A couple things. I agree what Kenna was saying earlier. Oh, sorry. I'm Emma. I'm the chair of Rights and Affairs Council. The thing with this bill specifically is the other two budget bills that the treasurer has to present next time that we already postponed also will directly affect this bill. So a lot of the funding differences that this senator was talking about would be changed with the bills presented at the next time that we already postponed. So a lot of these things that they're talking about, like travel funding and other food funding, etc., are going to change anyway. So having all three of them postponed where we can have the treasurer answer all of the specific questions that you're asking about the two different lines of funding, etc., is incredibly important, especially if Simra cannot answer all of them and she's doing her best.
Further discussion, motion to postpone. Student body president.
I would just second what Emma just said and emphasize that, but also I would like to provide a point of information on Douglas's question earlier that revisitations can happen. There's no limit to revisitations, so we could revisit this motion again in 5 minutes. So like the revisit of the postponement can continue to happen because there's no limit. So yes, we could revisit this motion again at any point.
Thank you, student body president. Further discussion on the motion to postpone. Back there, please toss it over.
Teagan Blaine, continuing to table is just continuing to delay consideration of the bill as a whole and continuing to delay people actually talking about it. And the point that was brought up earlier, A lot of the financials that we have spoken about thus far in here have been directly pulled off of the website, not questions for the treasurer at all. So we do have the relevant parties here needed in part to discuss the bill. And secondly, to refer to the point that was just made a second ago, if you're talking about multiple bills, why wasn't this all rolled into one package?
Further discussion on the motion to postpone. I'm seeing one from Celeste up here. There should be a second catch box. Isn't there one over here? Where is it? We don't lose boxes. Lanisha.
Oh,
Can you
oh.
please toss yours over to Celeste?
Thanks.
Celeste.
Celeste.
Over here with the, yeah, you got it. Go ahead.
Okay, Corinne Yoder-Mulkey, KU Law.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Celeste is cute too. I just want to acknowledge that we've gotten this far, and a lot of us are not student senators, but are here on behalf of other organizations that we're doing, and some of us have work jobs, etc. And are the communities affected by this funding? So I just want to acknowledge that a lot of people have taken time to be here and energy, and that if we table this, like, we're all going to have to, we will come back again, but it just like is more labor and time on people that are being effective, and I just want to like have space.
Thank you. Alex. And please.
Fatima, hi, I'm just a student at large. Yeah, I'd like to, I don't know the terminology, I'm really sorry, but I'd like to back up what a lot of people have been saying, this gentleman right here and Corinne, right, not Celeste. Yeah, a lot of our student organizations have come here today. Myself, I'm the president of Middle Eastern Student Association. I've never been a part of a student senate meeting, and a lot of student organizations have come out today. And I'm gonna be honest and a little forthright, it's getting disrespectful to keep pushing it. We're having this discussion over and over again. I have a job, I have a life, I have an MCAT to study for. I have a meeting that I just left to be a part of this. Let's move on. Like, let's talk about what we need to talk about. At the end of the day, like, we're not all a part of Student Senate, and I would like some respect being given to the people that this bill is going to affect. So.
Thank you.
There was
Okay, show of hands. Further questions? Show of questions. Oh, I'm sorry. Then go ahead.
Do I?
I just wanted to add to the points that were already made. A lot of student organizations are also, Manna Simmons, student at large.
Hi, Manna.
And a lot of student organizations are having events that they want to host and they want to create in these upcoming months. And we also need to plan for those. So continually pushing this off is also harming the organizations that Senate is supposed to help.
Further discussion. Advisors appoint. Could we, no, please.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
You're good, babe.
Point of clarification, this fund and Wednesday night fund will operate as normal until this bill is voted upon. So you will still be able to go to Community Development Fund on Tuesday nights as normal. So it doesn't affect the timing of that. Like, nothing will change until the bill is decided on.
Okay, further discussion, show of hands. I saw you earlier. Oh, wait, no, Farzad was first. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, I motion to move this to committee of the whole.
Okay. Hold on. There is a pending motion to postpone. We have to dispose of that first before we can consider committee of the whole. Committee of the whole does not take precedence over postponing.
Okay.
Do you have
Okay,
discussion?
I'll give some context. So I've talked to the advisor, and one alternative to this bill that I personally have is that we instead propose a constitutional amendment to limit quote unquote double dipping of funds, where any institution that's been through block, line, or DEI before cannot go again before DEI. And if they would like further funding, they have to present to full Senate, a meeting like tonight, if they would like those types of funds. So that way we deal with the problem of the same institutions repeatedly taking funds from a number of different institutions, and we solve that issue without dissolving the community affairs fund. If anyone supports that, let me know.
Pass it behind you. Hands up. You
Which
got it.
one?
Throw it.
Hi, I'm Emma Hardesty, a student as a whole, and also I think I'm a part of Student Rights and Affairs. Last week was my first meeting, so I guess in a week I will be part of Student Rights and Affairs Council. But I had a question earlier about the bill, and I know we've kind of like moved on from questions about the bill, but I mean, I'm not actually sure if the author can answer it. But last week in Student Rights and Affairs Council, the treasurer, and maybe I just misinterpreted it. I'm not sure if anyone else there thought that, but he seemed to imply that it wasn't that every group should be able to apply from both funds, but that every group on campus can apply from both the DEI fund and from the Wednesday night funding. And after she answered that question, that's not the case, and that the group has to, meet certain qualifications to be considered diverse. I was just wondering if that affects anything. If because I'm not. I mean, I didn't vote because it was my first meeting, but I was wondering if anybody in Student Rights and Affairs Council would have voted that way, or because I know you're the chair also, or the vice chair. So I just thought if that, like, it would affect anything, if anyone was potentially misled when he presented the bill, not on purpose, obviously, but like, if the, because assuming earlier, I think the treasurer was not aware of, I believe it was Article 13 of, it was the part of the Constitution that outlines the requirements for a diverse group.
This is discussion on the motion to postpone. Do you want to answer?
I can answer really quickly. And so, yeah, it's that every group can apply, but not every group will get allocated. And that's the funds or the board's decision to allocate it based on their rules and regulations. If anyone else wants to add.
Hold on. I previously asked if we could limit discussion on the motion to postpone to 10 minutes. 10 minutes has now expired. Since there is no objection to that motion, we will now proceed to vote. There can be a motion to extend time.
Motion to extend time by 3 minutes.
Motion to extend time by 3 minutes. Is that an objection? That's an objection. Do you withdraw, or do you want to take a vote on extending time by 3 minutes?
I'd like to take a vote on extending time by 3 minutes.
Okay. Does anyone mind if we just do this as a voice vote? I think it takes a majority to extend time. Yeah, like, no, like ayes and nays, or ayes and.
How are you gonna verify that?
Just show of hands.
Okay, yeah, show of hands. The show of hands work?
How are you gonna verify that?
You want to do a poll for it?
No.
Okay.
No. There's too many people here who are not senators to do it.
All right.
It has to be done in minutes.
Okay, we'll do a poll on extending time by 3 minutes. Extend time by 3 minutes. Christ, okay. Longer? Okay. Everyone, order, please. Order. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I withdraw my motion for 3 minutes and re-motion for an extension of 10 minutes.
Extension of 10 minutes. Is there a second? Second, same objection? Same objection. Can we please get a poll posted for a 10-minute extension of time? Again, this is on the motion to postpone, not the bill itself.
On motion to postpone, right?
Yeah, discussion on the motion to postpone. Yeah, should we discuss postponing longer, not should we discuss the bill longer? If the motion to postpone fails, then we'll go back to discussing, we'll go back to discussing the bill. Yay, parliamentary procedure, I am so done with this.
Do you think I have time to go to the bathroom?
We can make time.
I can do a point of clarification, so I just want to delete this.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if I can do point of clarification right now because I think it's discussion postponed, but I will address your question. And I have a very good answer. It's all right.
The poll is out, by the way. It's been out. Please vote. You have 30 seconds left.
30 seconds. Cast your vote now, please. Thank you. Again, if you are not on the roster as a student senator, please do not cast a vote. It will only make this longer.
She probably voted
Everyone, please resume your seats. The meeting will be back in order shortly. Do not do that. Sit down, please. Everyone, please resume your seats. I think we have some people who stepped out for bathroom breaks, but that's all right. Oh, they left their backpacks. Never mind. Okay, what's the vote? Oh, it's 13. 13. Okay, on the motion to extend time by 10 minutes, in favor 13 votes, opposed 17 votes. The motion clearly fails, so we are now out of time on the motion to postpone this bill. Again, We are now considering the motion to postpone Bill 2025-12, bill to dissolve the DEI fund and merge it into Wednesday night funding. So now that we are out of time, I think we proceed to vote on the postponement. That sounds right. Okay, so we will get the poll posted on the motion to postpone. Yeah, motion to postpone Bill 2025-12, approved. To repeat myself from earlier in this meeting, this motion requires a majority vote. If it receives a majority vote in favor, Bill 2025-12 will be postponed to the Cycle 3 meeting of the Students' Assembly, which will be held on October 9th. We will hear it then. If this motion does not receive a majority vote, we will continue with hearing the bill tonight. Thank you. Is it posted? It's posted. Please cast your votes in the next 2 minutes. Thank you. Call. Everyone, your attention, please. Are we ready to? Okay, we are currently concerned about the quorum at this meeting. We are required to have half of all voting members of the assembly participate in these votes. If we do not have half of all voting members, then we cannot consider any more business at this meeting. Based on our current count of the roster, including the replacement senators that were appointed at the beginning of this meeting, we need to have 36 people voting. If we have less than 36 people on this poll, it's my opinion that we will not be able to consider any further business at this meeting. If you can vote, please do so now. Can we? You already closed it?
If you didn't vote and you're a senator, raise your hand.
One.
2. Okay, well that's only 2. So.
Any other senators who didn't get to cast a vote? You can come up here and voice vote. New people in the room, are either of you student senators? You are, okay. Could you please come to the front?
Ola, is there anybody in the hallway? Nobody? Nobody in the hallway?
In favor of postponing? You want to put it off.
What was that?
Because presenting the bill, like I know, like there's so many questions we
Thank you.
Because we presented this bill last week.
Yeah.
And I had the same questions. Like,
Right.
My only question with the bill is one thing it was highlighting was there were so many things, like what is currently in place that would be not being able to track who's speaking for us.
Yeah.
And also like the issue of not being able to know what the diverse group is. Like the issue with it is like it's identified like it's not the first step. It's been able to identify all these things. Why is this best solution to be solved? Like why is it not looking to fix the different things?
Right.
Because like the main thing for me here is that like okay, double dipping and people are claiming to be diverse group. Why not visit the constitution and have a better definition of what a diverse group is? Right. And that's the main thing. And also,
With 16 voting to postpone, 15 vote opposing postponement, and 2 abstentions, this bill, or this motion to postpone fails. Fails, yeah, fails. Fails.
We should ask the neighbor.
But the thing is, I don't want to. So, how did it why? So, first of all, they do the money. It's just that the fees are
Order, please.
I would like to, ooh, that's really loud.
Again, it is seconded.
I would like to motion to call quorum.
Okay. No, we have had a call for quorum. Can we please have the tally from the previous poll? No, the total number of votes. 33. Okay, so quorum currently is 35.5 members. We can't have half a member, so I rounded it up to 36. 33, you said? We had 33 votes on the last motion. This means we are 3 short of quorum. Unless there are 3 senators here who didn't vote on the last poll, then we cannot consider any further business this meeting. Oh, we counted up the roster, including the new replacement senator, and then divided by 2. Constitution says we have to have half of the voting members. And it ended up being odd.
So what happens if we can't revisit? Like,
We adjourn. We can't do anything else.
so it's gonna be the next cycle.
It's going to have to go to the next cycle. You can't object to quorum. Order. Any other questions?
So can we recount one last time for the one time?
We can have a second poll to count the quorum.
I would like a second poll
Okay.
since we're already here.
No objection. Can we just have a new attendance poll? Okay. We are going to send out a new attendance poll. There is going to be one option on this poll, and it is going to be present voting member. Does that sound good? Okay. If you are a present voting member of the assembly, mark yourself present. Otherwise, please do not submit a response to this poll, or it is going to take longer for us to count it. If we have 36 responses on this poll, then we will have quorum. If we have less than 36 responses on this poll, then we will not have quorum. Again, if you are unable to cast a vote on Teams, please come up to the desk forthwith and tell us that you're present. Thank you. Questions?
Question, can you go over who can vote? If you attended the first meeting, Senate
No,
meeting,
no,
you
no,
can
no,
vote?
no, 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 senators.
Just
This is
senators.
the assembly, student senators.
Okay, just senators.
One more thing, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I just want to make sure that because we had the votes the first time, I know people are leaving, but also if you're a senator and you can vote, and just whatever might have happened, please vote if you're here, because just you feeling like, oh, I don't want to vote just because it's taking too long, like don't do that. You're a senator for a reason. Let's make sure we're voting.
Fair enough. Thank you. Okay, is it posted? It's posted. Please fill it out. If we don't have 36, we're done here. Thank you.
Okay. It's giving dictatorship.
Hey, yo, we're just walking around. All I've been doing is trying to facilitate peace.
Mama, may I have one? It was, but then some people left. But some people were in the bathroom, so I.
Excuse me. Tegan, was it? Oh, sorry. I understand that you're frustrated, but I don't know if you yelling at me. I'm not the one that presented the bill. I'm also a woman of color, so fine. I'm not trying to say anything, but I understand you're frustrated, and honestly, I don't feel like things You said that, are you saying?
Poll is closing. Poll is closing in 10, 9, 8. Poll is closed.
The poll is closed. 34. It's 34. It's less. No point. Well, I'm ready to count it.
No, that's not true. No, I think it might be different how you perceive it, and I just asked you.
35?
You're frustrated, but I kind of what you're doing.
It has to be 36. There must have been one that was like in there.
I respect everyone here.
Okay, the poll currently has 35 responses. We need one more person. Please, if there is a student senator who did not submit a response to the poll, please just come up to the front or raise your hand.
There's always someone in the bathroom. Somebody in the bathroom? It's like basketball. Somebody in the bathroom.
Okay, are we calling it here?
That's so.
Okay. Okay. Order, please. I think we're done here. Okay. It's been like
The poll's been open for a while. Check the bathroom.
the poll has been open. The poll has been open. I assume if someone is in the bathroom, then they can still see the poll on their phone as they're sitting on the toilet. That's what I did when I was.
Farzad, run.
Anyway, thank you everyone who submitted responses. Quorum for this meeting, based on our current number of student senators, is 35.5. We have 35 responses on the poll. Accordingly, we have counted, we have recounted, we are one short of quorum. No further business can be transacted at this meeting. It's specified by the Constitution. I can't. It's 35.5. We have one less.
You can
can't.
motion to suspend the rules.
Oh my God.
Order.
Yes.
Listen, I'm not saying that you're doing it on purpose, but I am saying that you have two choices you can make. One choice with your not entire, but a majority of the student body here, ready to speak, ready to have an opinion on the legislature, ready to be involved in student senate, and you are actively making the other choice. And at that point, I don't know what to tell you. I know like there's a fork in the road, you can go one way, but that means you're actively ignoring the other. And that means a lot to us because a lot of us here, we are minorities, we are people of color, we're underrepresented, we're at a primarily white institution. It means a lot that you won't even choose to ignore the 0.5. That's a lot to us. So I'm gonna give that to you and you can do with that what you will.
Thank you. We have all of them.
Can I give a quick point of order, really quick?
I would just like to make a quick point of order on that, because I understand that you're new here, so you don't exactly like understand how things work. The Speaker of the Assembly has no executive decision-making power. So if it is 0.5, then even if we're at 35, there's still that 0.5 that is missing. Even if we don't round up or down, it's at 0.5, and so we're still missing, and the Speaker does not have any executive decision-making powers.
That is correct. I cannot interpret the Constitution to say something it does not. We clearly are not meeting quorum, even if it's by one person not being here. I cannot change that. Yes.
Who can change that? Or would we be?
It would need to be a constitutional amendment, which again, we cannot consider tonight because we do not have quorum. Yes.
This is just the last thing, but could we appoint someone to like represent, like our replacement senator?
We don't have quorum to appoint replacement senators. The remedy in Robert's Rules of Order for a lack of quorum is to end the meeting, and once we have quorum at the next meeting, consider this business again. Brendan,
Can I just give a point of clarification, I guess?
sure.
Yeah. So one of the wonderful things about the power that we have here as KU student senators is we are able to do some of these things, and we have guidelines on the Constitution to allow us to have this power. If we decide not to follow this Constitution, then we're not following our own democracy that we've built for ourselves. And I do understand where you're coming from, the frustration and the emotions built into it at that 0.5. But some of the wonderful things we have here, like Danae and Ivana being in the positions they are, is because we do follow democracy, and we have 3 different branches of legislation. And without having following those rules, then we don't have order.
No, wait, I don't.
Wait.
Hold on.
Has to recognize and hold on.
I believe you had your hand raised first. Let's pass it over.
I have to speak to this, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I understand that, I do, but from my understanding, you guys had quorum, and I don't really understand. Someone please correct me, but how can you have it and then your student senators, who their job is to be here, you were elected to be here, they're not here anymore? So the rules that you have set in this democracy clearly aren't working because your student senators are leaving.
I know.
They have left. We had quorum earlier. So I really don't get it. And I want to know, how is that possible? And can those people come back? Is that not the job?
We had quorum earlier. We don't have quorum now because student senators left the meeting.
But how can they leave the meeting? Like, is
They-
that allowed? I don't understand.
Okay. We have not heard any change to the number of present voting members. We still do not meet quorum. Thank you for the further discussion on this point. However, there is nothing we can do if we do not have quorum. So, is there a motion to adjourn? The only thing we can properly consider at this point is adjourning.
Can I, just one point, just one more thing.
No, sorry. We already heard discussion.
I think it's funny that the people who are against this, the second they lose, suddenly senators are missing. Now, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but the people who are here, if you really wanted senators not to be leaving, they should be here. They
The
literally
community
are
student
senators.
senator for the Black
We need to
Student
change
Union is
something.
not recognized to speak, but thank you for your further input.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion?
I'll give it to the
adjourn?
graduate advisor.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn from the graduate student body president. Is there a second?
Have another person that can vote for quorum. I suggest we vote for quorum again.
Oh, how?
Are they here?
I maybe texted someone.
Hold on. We have another person from Farzad.
He might be in the bathroom. He might be somewhere else. We don't know.
Is he present in the hall?
I'm getting some information on that at the moment. But he can vote.
We do not have quorum. Okay.
I'm going to make an official second
We
motion.
have, everyone, please, okay. We have a motion to adjourn from the graduate student body president.
Correct.
We have a second from the student body president. Is there an objection to adjourning? I see objections. I see objections from present voting members. Can you please post a motion to adjourn? We can't do anything otherwise. Wait, yeah. Hold on. Yes, hold on. The meeting. Okay. Okay. Everyone. 1 second. Order, please. Order, please. Okay. There is no quorum. We cannot consider any further business. Accordingly, the meeting is adjourned. There is nothing further to do. We do not have enough members present and voting to conduct business. The meeting is adjourned. Is your person here to vote? We already had a poll. If he's not here to approach the desk and cast it, then we do not have. If we call them right now, we probably have less. The meeting is over. I am sorry. I do not have the power to force the meeting to continue when we are not meeting the constitutional requirements.
Okay, guys. This meeting's been adjourned, right? So we're gonna be back here October 9th. Councils are meeting next week. I urge every single person that came here tonight to also show up next week for councils and then October 9th. And do not let anyone leave so that way they can, quote unquote, who knows, maybe strategically leave to avoid a vote.
That was a threat, and that is not allowed as per the Student Senate Constitution. People have the right to leave as fluidly as they want. You said do not allow people to leave.
You can allow people to leave, but be here looking at them with shame and log their names. Log their names. Every person that leaves, log their names and then run against them in the elections. If you want to create a constitutional penalty for people leaving for quorum to get them kicked out of Senate immediately, show up next week.
If you're on Student Senate exec, can you go to the office, please?
Just email me so I can have all of it. It'll be actually October 9th. It doesn't go back in. It'll be happy assembly. I can get
Oh, yeah.
Think about how frustrated I am. It is one more person and people just
Give us another executive. Yeah, what inspired this? For God, I feel like I'm a senior. I'm gonna lead the people.
We've done it before.
Save it for the UCC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do that.
Well, where were you?
I'm meeting with, Oh, you do?
Yeah, no, she's in one of the. She also comes by. You know, like the iRise values we have. So smart today. I'm gonna call for every single meeting now. These the people that were giving out ice cream.
Oh
yeah, and the UCC committee, that was great. They just had like a couple questions for asking.
For real.
We want to hear the students' perspective.
Yeah. Oh, really? They didn't want to listen to you?
No, it's like they want to hear students. I kept calling. Oh, it's just me. Yeah, because it was just me because Anna wasn't there.
Anna wasn't there?
Well, she was there for like the last hour.
Oh, okay.
She like zoomed in.
Well, I told the lady that I wasn't going to be there because I had a meeting. Otherwise, I would have loved to have been there. I put myself on the committee. Of course, I'm passionate about it.
Yeah, I think it's probably.
It's really interesting. I mean, we even have a tennis court. Are you kidding me?
I like to compare these to someone green. Now our board. Go ahead and mark it down.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, it's kind of have to get there and go for it. Yeah, I agree. If that's not a meeting, we're gonna make that. Whatever the number is. But I agree. Sure. Yeah. We don't have any. We're not allowed to. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, nice. I'm trying to see. I forget. You've been here as long as I always forget because I'm always like Zachariah was up there. So I was like, no, she's been here.
Mine's it.
Were you? You're not. Are you?
No, I'm not. I'm saying my exit for me. Yeah. But you're letting me slip, right? You didn't say I was your best.
That's what I thought it was. Chris said it was. I thought it was.
Yeah. I technically.
I hope not. We're leaving again like this, like, it's because of the financial
Whoever the chairs are here, come with me and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, but I feel like let me in Oklahoma.
Their title is just. What are you doing? We need I'm not contributing the pleb. I'm a patrician at heart, and I will crush you. I am full of Maurice. And now I'm thinking I need to make it.
Yeah, I know.